What is it about this industry that may be unique from other industries where, if you're a surgeon, if you had a 52% hit rate, you're not going to be in business for
You
very
will be
long.
fired.
Yeah, you'll be fired. In most industries, the 52%, other than baseball, is not good enough. So what is it about investing that makes it unique in that, a little bit better than somebody who knows nothing is exceptional?
It comes down to the ability to develop high sample size of that. So if you take that 5248, which is that weighted coin, and you flip it one time, who the heck knows, right? I mean, like, you can't tell the difference between 50-50 and 52-48 if you flip the coin one time. And part of the idea, the great thing about markets is if you are prudent with your risk management, what you have the ability to do is if you have an edge, then you can bet that edge over and over and over again. And it's not just about betting it at any one time across a bunch of different markets, but it's also about betting that edge through time. Because, in any 1 month, any one bet in any 1 month it's very hard to necessarily know whether you have edge over time. But let's say you put that on 100 times and you do it over 100 months. Well, now you have orders of magnitude more scale in terms of the number of times that you've made those bets. And if you've made those bets enough and you have that edge, odds are you're going to be able to deliver a return that is, more consistent, that generates alpha, right? That's more consistent than, say, just passive investing. But what I'd emphasize is that there's also limitations. So someone who claims to be 60-40 or 75-25 in their bets is probably lying. Maybe not overtly lying in terms of, they may think that that's true, but it's almost certainly not true. It's like, Sharpe ratios of 3 don't exist. They don't exist in the world. Sharpe ratio is the amount of return you get relative to the amount of risk that you're taking at any point in time. It doesn't exist in the world because if it did exist, people would find those opportunities and erode the alpha away. And so when you hear people talk about having exceptional track records, the real question is, are they lucky or are they good? And the more exceptional the track record, the more likely they're lucky rather than good.
And oftentimes what I've seen is you have exceptional returns for a long period of time, and then you take a massive hit because you had this underlying risk that didn't show itself until it did. And then when you look through the full period, you're just like, maybe 52%.
That's exactly right. Certainly you can construct bets, and there's lots of implicit and explicit ways in which people sell options. The investment management industry today is chock full of people who are selling options. And in a low volatility environment, you don't have to pay out for them. But in a high volatility environment or a jump to volatility environment, you can have huge gap risk and take losses, for instance, that are multiples of your capital. And so you're totally right, is that it's not only just looking at the winning percentage, it's also looking at how you're winning and the likelihood that you're going to be able to consistently do that. And one of the big risks in the industry is that there is a tilt towards strategies or desire to hold strategies that look like they're working over time. And then when they blow up, you're like, well, everyone blew up. But that's a bad investment strategy, right? What you want to do is, you don't want to create a return stream that looks like up and then down. You want to create a return stream that is as close to a line as possible. And the way that you do that is by having the humility to understand that you're going to get a lot of things wrong and use diversification and use other tools in order to create a more consistent return.